Welcome students in the 8th session of the chapter Nationalism in India. Students, in the last video you have studied about civil disobedience movement and you have studied how the civil disobedience movement was spread in different parts of the areas. Today we will study about how it has spread in the different social groups and how they have contributed and how they participated in the civil disobedience movement. This you can go with the next slide. Now we will study how CDM was joined by the different social groups, what were their ideals, and what was Swaraj really mean to them. Students, here we will talk about the two different communities who were very famous in Gujarat and UP. Patidars of Gujarat and Jats of UP. They are the communities which used to cultivate the commercial crops. Commercial crops, they usually grow for selling it into the market. Banana, cotton, coffee, rubber, tea, all these are the commercial crops. Patidars is one of the community that is very famous in Gujarat, and they are basically growing commercial crops to sell it into the market and for the import as well as for export purpose also. In the same manner, Jats of the UP, they also were the rich communities, rich peasant community who used to deal with the commercial crops. See students, we have seen that these producers of commercial crops were basically hard hit by the Great Economic Depression. Students, in the last video you have already studied about the Great Economic Depression. The agricultural prices of the goods have fell dramatically and their production was lying in the market and people were not ready to buy them. And almost all the income that they had with them, that was almost disappeared during the Great Economic Depression. Their condition was extremely poor as they were not in a condition to pay the revenue to the government. And when they were unable to pay the revenue to the government, they were demanding that their revenue should be waived off or their revenue should be decreased. But the government was not ready to listen to their problems. So there was a great resentment, or you can say that the people were really unhappy with the British government because the government was not ready to listen to their problems and the condition and were not ready to understand the conditions of the rich peasant communities. So for this we have seen that they wanted and they have given their extreme support in the civil disobedience movement. When Gandhiji has launched the civil disobedience movement, they have given their active participation in the CDM. So when we are talking about the CDM, we have seen that for them, see, every community has their own development goals. Every community's demand, every community's requirement is something different for different people. For these people, for Patidars and for the Jat community or the peasant community, for them, Swaraj means that their revenue should be waived off and revenue should not be paid to the government. That means they were just demanding the relaxation from paying the revenue. So when the government was not ready to listen to their problems, they have shown their resentment by giving full participation in CDM. In 1931, when the government, when the Gandhiji has called off the movement, at that time we have seen that when it was again, when it was relaunched, these communities were not ready to participate into the civil disobedience movement, because when at this time the government has not given, till that time the government has not given any relaxation in the revenue, and they were bound to pay the revenue to the government. So students, by 1932, when the Gandhiji has relaunched the movement, many of them have, when it was restarted in 1932, many of them have refused to participate into the civil disobedience movement, because they were really unsatisfied with the civil disobedience movement, and they didn't wanted to participate into it further when it was relaunched. Now students, in the next slide we have, you can see that there was another community was also there. Earlier we were talking about the rich peasant community. They were rich, financially strong, and during the economic depression, whatever income was available to them, surplus income they already had, that was disappeared, and they were also highly affected. But you think of the community that were just the tenants who used to work for the landlords. So now we are talking about the poor peasants, and they have also facing too much of the trouble, and they were extremely hard hit by the great economic depression. See students, being a peasant, what we people used to do is we used to take the land, we used to hire a land from the landlords, and we used to pay the rent to the landlords. But at this time, when we have at the time of great economic depression, when the tenants have taken the land on a lease from the landlords, they were unable to give the rent to the landlords. Why? Because their products were not sold into the market, and it was lying unused, and it was unsold into the market. So whatever income that they had, that also dwindled, and were unable to pay the rents to the landlords. They wanted that their rent should be remitted, that means waived off. Now the landlord should not take the rents that was being fixed by the between the landlord and between the tenants. But this condition was being not very, their demands were not fulfilled. Not only this, these people, peasant community, they have participated in many of the radical movements which were led by the socialists and many of the economists. And many of the communist people, they have also led such movements which have given the path and shown the path to the radical peasants. This time, if we talk about the any political party, during that time Congress was the main political party that was dealing with all different situations, but Congress had more of the contacts with the rich peasant community. So the Congress members were not ready to take the side of the poorer sections of the people, and they don't wanted to raise any issue related to the rent. So no tax campaign was started by these peasant group, and in the Bardoli, Gujarat, and they wanted that this issue should be raised in the Congress and it should become widespread. But the Congress members were not ready to raise their issue of no rent problem. So the relation between the landlords, Congress, and the poor peasants has become very bitter, and the poor peasant community have decided that they are going to stay aloof from the civil disobedience movement. So their participation has also reduced due to the behavior and the influence of the people. See students, the another important theme that we people have, the another social group that we people have, that was the business class. When we are talking about the business class, so business class community also participated into the civil disobedience movement. So students, when we are talking about the business class, if you remember in the last to last video might be, we have studied about the First World War, the economic condition during the First World War. There are many entrepreneurs, there are many industrialist people were there who have really earned a huge profit from the First World War, and now they wanted that their economic activity should spread in different parts of the areas. So when we are talking about the business class community, and they wanted that to give a maximum participation to the civil disobedience movement, and but the colonial government was totally against the economic activities, because the colonial government wanted to control all the economic activities that would be carried out by the Indian traders and merchants. So among these Indian traders and merchants, they had too much of the problems, and what these people wanted, they wanted the protection. In the trade. They wanted that the Indian traders and merchants should not participate and should not buy and should not import the foreign goods, and they wanted that what the value of the money that is reducing, that should not be due to they wanted to discourage the import that is done from the foreign countries. So among them you can see that we have they have organized Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries in 1927. Prior to that, in 1920, they have organized Indian Industrial and Commercial Congress in 1920 after the First World War, and later they have made their own organization, they have made their own Chamber of Commerce and Industries, FICCI, in 1927. If we talk about the most prominent members of among the industrialists or the huge entrepreneurs, big entrepreneurs, among them we have two big names in front of you. You can see that Purushottam Das Thakur and G.D. Birlas, you know it. Aditya Birla's Idea is one of the main brand that is very famous and is very profounded by the Birlas. See students, this was the time when Indian economy was supported by these Indian traders and industrialists. So they wanted, and sometimes it happened that when there were many industrialists, many traders, many merchants were there who were not directly dealing with or not giving their support in the CDM, but financially they were supporting to all the nationalist members and all freedom fighters who were fighting against the colonial government. Now we have seen that these traders and merchants, they have refused to deal with and do the trade with the foreign goods, and they don't wanted to participate, and they don't wanted to sell, they don't wanted to produce any goods for the foreign country also. You can see that 1920, because the Congress have the Commercial Congress 1920. 27 it was formed, and this movement was launched, and they have refused to buy or sell imported goods in the country. It shows that they have given more of the support to the Swadeshi good. Whatever goods would be produced within the country, within our own country and by our own Indian manufacturers, that goods should be used by the people so that we can make our economy more stronger, and financially we can be more erected and more stronger in the economy as for them. See students, when we talk about these people, about the industrialists, they have the another important goal. Like the peasants, they wanted that there should be a relaxation in the revenue. The peasant, poor peasant wanted that their rent should be remitted, should be waived off. So that means every person, every community has a different demand. So in the same manner, these industrialist people also had a demand that for them Swaraj means that they should not deal, they should not deal with imported goods. Foreign goods should not come in the country, and they wanted that there has to be a restriction on the business or the goods that come from the different country. They wanted to end all these import, and they wanted that Indian industry would flourish without any constraint, without any trouble, without any problem. The people should deal with the Indian goods. So students, we have seen that the Gandhiji has called off the given a halt to the civil disobedience movement, and Gandhiji wanted that there has to be a participation, in the round table conference. Gandhiji was being asked to participate into the round table conference, second round table conference. So when Gandhiji went to London to attend the round table conference, second round table conference, so at that time we have seen that the negotiation between the company and between the Gandhiji was not being negotiated, and it was not very satisfactory result. So Gandhiji became very disappointed, and he came back from there with a great disappointment, and then he has relaunched the civil disobedience movement. So students, here we have the another important group that was fighting and has given a support to the civil disobedience movement, that was the industrial working class. Industrial working class, they have also given their maximum support except the Nagpur region. Industrialist, we have seen earlier that industrialists were more close with the Congress members, whereas the working class community was not much participation in the Congress community was not there. So they didn't wanted to raise the issues of the working group. So we have seen that, but there were some people among the industrial working class. They have participated, they have given their active support into the civil disobedience movement, and they have fought for the low wages that was being paid to them, and they have fought for the extreme poor condition during the working hours or in the industrial regions. Their working condition, they fought for it, and they wanted that their working condition should be better and they should be paid better wages. In 1930, railway workers, they went on a strike. In 1930 again, we have seen that Chota Nagpur tin mine workers, they also went on a strike, and they have given their support. They protested, rallies, processions were organized, and not only this, they have given their full participation in the civil disobedience movement. We have seen that they wanted that how they have supported, they have worn the Gandhian cap, Gandhian white cap they have worn, and they have shown that we are with Gandhiji and our full support is there with the civil disobedience movement. They wanted that if Congress is not raising their issue, not a problem, Gandhiji would raise their issue related to their low wages and related to their poor working conditions. Students, we have seen that there was a great conflict between the industrialist and among the working class group. So there was an alienated. Their relationship was alienated. Industrialist people had a better has a better condition, whereas and even Congress was also contributing to them. Even Congress was also supporting to them. Whereas the working class, it may be the peasants or it may be the farmers, they did not participate into the and they didn't raise any issue related to the working class. Students, now we have the participation of the women. See, it is a great deal that in a community, patriarchal society, in a patriarchal society where communities are, women's are being bound within the four walls of a domestic area, and they are participating into the political activity, it becomes a great deal. So we have seen that during the Salt Law and during the Dandi March, the women have given their full support and they have participated, they have given their best in the civil disobedience movement, and maximum participation was given by the women. Not only this, we have seen that they have participated in many multi-activities. They have protested, they have done marches, they have done rallies, they have protested, liquor shops were picketed up, foreign goods were picketed up, and they have given full support for the CDM. Women have given, whether a woman belongs to a rural area or an urban area, they have given their full support. Whether a woman belong to the lower community or the upper caste or Hindus or a Muslim community, everybody has given their full support to the CDM, and they were ready to give their full support, and they have really felt that their sacred duty for the nation is to give their support towards the political activity that is carried out for the freedom in the country. Students, we have seen that in a patriarchal society means male dominating society, where all the important decisions are taken by the male communities. So when we are talking about the patriarchal society, women are not being considered or they don't have a very good position in the society. So when they have participated in all these political activities, the male group, they didn't want them to participate into all such political activities, and they don't want that the women should move out of the four walls of a house. And the people, they wanted that the women should not come out of the house and should not participate. They are just a symbol. Their symbolic presence is very important, but they should not come out of their houses. But we have seen that the members of the Congress were really very reluctant that women should participate into it. They are not ready that women should participate in any of the such political activities. And what these people wanted, that their position, when the women have participated into all such activities, their position has not improved, and their position, their status, their lifestyle remained the same. That means much freedom were not given to the women. Not only the Congress, even Gandhiji was also convinced. Gandhiji was also convinced that it was the duty of the women to look after home and the domestic regions, and the women should be a good mothers and good wives. And for a long time, the Congress was reluctant to allow women to hold any position of authority within the organization. So students, we have studied that which all social communities or social groups participated and given their extreme participation in the CDA. Business class, working class, industrial workers, patidars of the Gujarat, the Jats of the UP, and the maximum participation from the women community also. They all have given their full support to the civil disobedience movement. But there must be some group which did not participate into the civil disobedience movement. One such social group, you can call them as untouchables. See students, untouchables, that this community, these people were not considered very important in the society, and they are not being treated properly in the society. And almost in 1930 we have seen that these community have started calling themselves as Dalit or the depressed. Dalits or depressed communities. So students, these people, they have not participated, they have not given their support in the civil disobedience movement. We have seen that from a very long time, the Congress members or the Congress people, they have ignored the demands and they have ignored the rights of the untouchables. So when their demands are ignored, definitely they are not going to give their support to the Congress members, which was launched by the Congress members. CDM was launched by the Congress. So we have seen that why the Congress was not supporting the untouchables. They were not supporting the untouchables because the majority members who were there in the Congress, they were Sanatanis. Who were the Sanatanis? They are conservative Hindu, high class Hindu people. And they don't want it to, because they are the high class, and you know about the social order in India. Students, we know that the Brahmins, they are considered at the top, Kshatriyas, Vaishya and Shudras. So almost you can say that low lying after the Shudras, the untouchables. So their status in the society was not very good. So that is why for them the untouchables has, Congress members, for them the untouchable has no place in the society. But Gandhiji said Swaraj would not come. You can see it is given there. Swaraj would not come until and unless any member, any social group would be alienated or eliminated from the group, or if they will not participate. We cannot attain Swaraj if all the members of the country will not participate. Hundreds of years, till hundreds of years, we people cannot attain the Swaraj if all the social groups would not participate into the Swaraj movement. See children, what Gandhiji has done, Gandhiji has called untouchables, Gandhiji has given them the name Harijans. Harijan means the children of God. And we have seen that Gandhiji has organized satyagrahas to rescue them from entry into the temples, access to the public wells, tanks, roads and schools. You can see that means when we talk about the access, they were not accessible to all such public places where we all people can go and we people can roam around and we people can use all those facilities. But the untouchable sections were not allowed to use, and they were not allowed to enter into the temples. They were not considered sacred and they were considered as impure if they would enter into the temples. If they touch to any person, that also becomes impurity. That also symbolizes impurity. So we have seen that Gandhiji has persuaded the upper class people to change their heart and give up the sin of untouchability. The sin that we people are continuing, or the practice that we are continuing of untouchability, that should not be followed by the people. Not only this, to give a respect to this community, Gandhi ji has given their best. Even Gandhi ji has organized a satyagrahas. Not only that, Gandhi ji himself cleaned toilets to dignify the work of the Bhangis. Who are the Bhangis? The sweepers. They are the Gandhiji has cleaned the toilets, and he has dignified the work that is done by the Bhangis, that has also a dignified work. And if these people would not work for us, then the community would not work and community would not run properly. Gandhiji has persuaded to every person that to make them the part of their society. Many Dalit leaders were keen to find different political solutions to the problems of the community. They started organizing themselves and they started demanding a separate electorate for themselves. So, and if they thought that if they would be empowered, then the Dalit sections or the oppressed section would come into the power, and they would be respected in the society. So they demanded separate electorate that would choose Dalit members for legislative council. These Dalit members believed that if they will be politically empowered, then whatever social disabilities they are facing in the society, or the humiliation they are facing in the society, that would be waived off, that would not be continued, because they will come into the power after getting elected into the legislative council and after getting and acquiring the post. So Dalits' participation in the CDM, civil disobedience movement, was very much limited, especially in the Maharashtra and the Nagpur region. Students, we have seen that Gandhiji went for a second round table conference. There, even the Muslim members were already there. Even the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. You can see here comes the entry of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is the one who have drafted the Constitution of India, Baba Sahib. Or you can see that in 1930, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has organized Dalits into Depressed Classes Association. Dr. Ambedkar has clashed with the Gandhiji at the second round table conference by demanding a separate electorate for the Dalit sections. Gandhiji tried to convince Dr. B.R. Ambedkar for not demanding a separate electorate for Dalit. He said that there would be a disintegration of the country if every community would be demanding a separate electorate for themselves. So for that, British government was agreed to it, and he was agreed to the demand of the Ambedkar. But Gandhiji was totally against to the separate electorate that was demanded. So for that, what Gandhiji has done, Gandhiji went on a fast unto death. That means he is going to fast, he is not going to eat anything, he is not going to drink anything until and unless Ambedkar will take back his demand. By seeing the position of the Gandhiji, by seeing the condition, Ambedkar was ready to talk with the Gandhiji, and he decided that okay, we'll come with the Pune Pact. So Pune Pact was signed between Gandhiji and Ambedkar. Pune Pact of September 1932. In September 1932, they came with a result that we would not be giving a separate electorate to them, but yes, we would be giving them the reserved seats. These Dalit sections would later, you can see that these depressed society is later known as, nowadays also we call them scheduled caste, SCs. So they are known by SCs nowadays. They said a separate seats would be reserved, seats would be given to them in the provincial and central legislative councils, but they were to be voted in by the general electorate in the general elections. For them, there will not be a separate elections, would not be there, and they will not be getting the other reservations, but reserved seats would be there in the provincial as well as in the central legislative councils. This pact gave scheduled caste the reserved seats in the provincial, and there would be a voting by the general electorate. So Dalit movement continued to be very apprehensive. These Dalit sections were really very apprehensive in contributing and participating into the civil disobedience movement. Students, we have seen that there was one more group was there that we have studied in the non-cooperation movement. Muslim community, non-cooperation Khilafat movement, non-cooperation Khilafat movement, NCM, NCKM. Khilafat movement. In non-cooperation movement, they have participated, they have given their full support because they were fighting for their emperor, whereas they have not given their support in the civil disobedience movement. And we have seen that majority of Congress members were associated with many of the religious Hindu Mahasabhas, and they also didn't give much of the approach to the Muslim communities. So they feel alienated. The Muslim community feel alienated. The scene that you can see the picture. Okay. Muhammad Ali Jinnah. The Congress and the Muslim League made efforts to renegotiate an alliance, and this alliance appeared to be forged in 1927. That means the Congress and the Muslim League were not moving hand in hand together because the Hindu members, they feel themselves in a majority, and they are not giving much importance to the Muslim community, whereas the Muslim community, they were feeling alienated in the Congress. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the leader of the Muslim League, were willing to give up the demands for a separate electorate. They have also demanded separate electorate. They have also agreed to give up their demands of the separate electorate if Muslims were assured. He said, if Muslims would be assured, if all Muslims were assured reserved seats in Central Assembly. He has also kept a demand that if the demands and the reserved seats would be given to them, an assurance should be given to them that there would be a reserved seat for the Muslim members. Whereas you can see that yes, we have seen that Bengal and the Punjab region, where we have the most dominating provinces. These are the two most dominating provinces of the Muslim community. In 1928, there was a negotiation between the Muslim community and the Hindu community. They were demanding to have a reserved seats. But you can see that this negotiation failed in 1928 when M.R. Jaikar of Hindu Mahasabha strongly opposed the demands of their reserved seats. So Congress members were not ready to compromise with the negotiation that they had. Getting alienated from the Congress, many Muslim leaders and intellectuals expressed their concern about the status of the Muslim community and the status and the livelihood of the Muslim community. They were more concerned about the Muslim members. They said that in India, we Muslims are in minority and Hindus are in majority. So how this balance would be maintained? So for that they were demanding the reserved seats. They feared that the culture and the identities of minorities would be submerged under the dominations of Hindu majority. And we have seen that in this context they have felt themselves as alienated, and for that they were also in minority. Almost you can see that if you are going to see the census, almost we have 14.2% of the communities in India. At present we have the Muslim communities are there. Okay, students, so there was a good fear was there in the minds of the Muslim community. So we have the, I have given you the assignment here. You can see this assignment. Students, after a repeated reminder to everybody, you are not sending the assignments in time. I have already told you by Saturday till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you can send me the assignment, not beyond that. Okay, so send it soon. Till then, keep learning, stay safe, and keep doing your work. Maintain your work in the proper register. Don't send me in the papers. Maintain it, because it would be burden for you later on. Okay, students, so maybe one more session would be there related to this chapter, and after that I am going to have you people are going to face the test based on the nationalism in India. So till then, stay safe at home. Thank you.